Korn Ferry player Matty Ryan stopped by to chat golf, his road trip music playlist, and his favorite food to cook.
You gotta hear his stories from PGA Tour Latinoamerica. They're too good to miss.
Amazing stories from Matty as he joins us from Jacksonville Beach to get ready for his season.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, hey, let's get you going here. Let's get this thing started. He's Matt Ryan. He's the professional golfer, Matt Ryan, not the quarterback for the Falcons. He has just arrived in sunny Florida to start his season here after that long road trip from San Diego. I want to start right there, Matt. What's your go-to playlist for road trips?
Oh, man. Well, go-to would probably be I have a big, long playlist that's, it says Let's Go. So I should probably change that nowadays to LFG, but it's got everything from classic rock to like EDM, tropical house, and some reggae. It's like 7 hours long. I made it for a friend's bachelor party a couple years ago, and I just kind of keep adding to it. But I was listening to some podcasts, quite a few, and then some audiobooks on the way here this time.
What kind of bands are in there in your playlist? You say you got some Stones in there, and then
I got Stones. I got let's see, I got Stones and AC/DC. I got let me see here, Robin Schulz, Calvin Harris, Kanye, B.I.G. I got a bunch of like EDM guys, obviously like Kygo, Axel Ingrosso, Don Diablo.
So you're an equal opportunity guy.
Yeah, there you go. I like older rap. You won't see me playing much of the newer rap. I'm not big on that. I like the stuff when I was in school and maybe just even older. Like when I was I would have never listened to it when I was a kid, but like Mos Def and a bunch of guys like that from way back in the day. So.
Like NWA, Run DMC.
Yeah. NWA wasn't necessarily allowed in my house. So my dad is a police officer and a bunch of uncles. So.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. I'm just referencing older bands, like older, like that old school hip hop, like hieroglyphics and those guys. So.
Yeah. No, I and NWA, like what they did and all that stuff is great now looking back. But when I was growing up in LA, it was very aggressive for. Obviously like police officers and stuff, but
sure.
Everything works both ways. So it was, I don't know. I wasn't that into it when I was growing up, but I got some country too.
There you go.
So what sort of stops did you make on your way to Florida? Did you just drive straight through pretty much?
No. So my old roommate, for like 5.5 years is, Seamus Power, who's, he's on the PGA Tour. Seamus, his cousin lives in Vegas, and we've kind of been we do like mini Vegas trips. Like years ago when we played mini tour golf, we'd go out to California for the winter, and me and some buddies, my hometown's like 4.5 hours from Vegas. So Seamus had never been, hey, we're going to Vegas. I'll get the guys to go. So for like maybe 3 years in a row, we did a Vegas trip. And now since then, it's kind of always a place where him and I go back to. So he missed the cut on Friday in San Diego. And then I met him halfway and he hopped in my car and we drove and hung out in Vegas for a couple days. And then from there, I stopped kind of impromptu at the Grand Canyon. I had never been before. So I got a coffee the next morning, went and watched the sunrise at the Grand Canyon. So that was unique. Yeah. And then beautiful city of Amarillo, Texas. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and then straight on to St. Pete. My last day was my longest drive. It was like 12 hours.
Yeah.
So,
you ever stop in just random cities and go knock on the municipal course and just play?
That'd be a good idea, but no. I years ago, I stopped like in Alabama to visit my uncle. I stopped in Texas where my brother was going to school. Then I stopped in Dallas where my best buddy from college was. And it was just like, 8 days later, I was just like, man, that was exhausting. So I've done it 3 other times and twice with Seamus and then this time. And I just said, screw it. I can only make so many stops. So.
Right. I mean, there's the PGA Tour. There's the Korn Ferry Tour. You have mini tours. I want to join the Muni Tour.
The Muni Tour. I'd actually enjoy that.
Wouldn't that be great? Just schedule them on a 3-month bender, and Get a whole bunch of amateurs and pros, and let's go the Muni Tour.
That'd be cool. I like munis. I grew up on a public course, and I grew up going to like Rancho Park for the LA City Amateur Championship, Griffith Park, Brookside, which are all like historic municipal golf courses in Los Angeles.
Did you play junior golf?
Awesome. Yeah, I played junior golf. Not much. I played. My brother and I grew up like massive football guys, so we played a bunch of flag football and then football in high school. And then we played on a travel baseball team growing up. So like golf was kind of always something we did at a young age. And since we were decent at it, we would do it like to fill up time, I guess. So we played junior golf when we were like 10, 11, maybe 12. I don't even remember, to be honest. And then I played in high school, for 4 years, and like, I'm 34. So I remember asking my dad about AJGA going into my senior year of high school, and it was AJGA is pretty expensive. I honestly think that they need to do something to help guys who grow up at a public golf course to get into something like AJGA, because it is an absolute fortune. And when I was growing up, I think there was one tournament like west of Texas. I could be wrong there, but I remember looking it up, and there was like a tournament in Vegas, and that was the closest tournament. So it was like between football in the fall and all summer, and then golf in the spring. I always thought if I was good enough, I'd be fine not playing AJGA. But nowadays it's not that way. If you don't play AJGA, you seem to be in big trouble or behind the 8 ball, so to speak. So,
what kind of player were you as a junior?
I've always been pretty good. I started playing golf when I was like, I think my dad has a video of me swinging in the backyard when I was like 2.5, like Fisher Price blue clubs. And it's funny looking back now because my swing kind of looks pretty similar, but I always hit it well. Like stories from my dad when we were really young, like you always hit it really well. Your brother always putted very well. If you could put both of you together, you'd be some golfer. But yeah, I remember being told by other people like how well I hit it. But I tell everyone I know that's learning golf, I'm so thankful I don't remember learning how to play golf from the basics. I have no recollection of grip, stance, posture, swing, nothing. So, yeah, my brother and I used to watch my dad. So.
What kind of sports parents did you have? I usually ask what kind of golf parents did you have, but since you played a whole bunch of stuff, you would have had just sports parents.
Yeah. My mom was kind of out of sports. I mean, she was a cheerleader in college at Cal State Northridge, where my dad played football. My dad was awesome. He coached us, me, my brother. So I have an identical twin, actually. So if I reference him, that's because we were doing everything at the same age. But my dad's best friend growing up, and my dad coached my brother, our best friend, and I in like flag football when we were 5. And my dad's never been like, I don't even know if he coached me on other teams. Maybe when I was like 7 or 8, but my dad always liked to stay out of it. He was huge on, if you're not playing enough or if you're not starting, like work harder, don't blame it on the coach. And, you get older, and it's funny. We played on a baseball team one time, and my brother we weren't playing as much as we thought we should. So we went and complained. My dad's response, work harder, get better. And as we got older, my dad goes, yeah, I'm kind of with you guys there. I don't know what happened on that team, but no, my parents were great. My mom, even to this day, like, I think she just knows how my golf goes based on my dad saying, oh, Matthew did this today. But my dad was an incredible athlete. So I think he never wanted to be, whatever they call it now, golf dad, I guess, but it was baseball dads when I was growing up.
Sure.
And I look back, and I'm pretty lucky. Like my dad, we'd get into it on the course sometimes, but that was as I got older. And at a pretty young age, he was like, you know what, I don't have much to teach you on the golf course anymore. So do your thing. But I mean, he knows me better than anybody on the golf course. So I reach out to him quite often about that.
Just a good answer, because that's what we get I mean, I ask that question every pod, and we have not had a person that's like, "Oh man, my parents were just militant," yelling at me about my posture at 4 years old, and I wish more parents would hear that, because you go to the driving range and you always see the golf dad out there who's just, just criticizing his 4-year-old. I'm like, that kid's gonna hate golf in 2 months.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any memory of thinking, man, I wish my dad would just leave me alone.
Sure.
Whether that was in football, baseball, golf. My dad has a huge influence on my brother and I. Like, since we were twins, we were always the same age or same level of what we were doing in sports. So my dad used to come up with like these, we thought they were games, but they were actually receiver drills, or a chipping game that was actually, helped our chipping. Everything was like a game. Everything was, if you do well, your brother does well, because we're, you're identical twins. And in high school, people don't take too much time to differentiate which one, Ryan on the back of the jersey, which one was that, so, I think he handled everything great. And, he was my swing coach till 2011, but, not much. I'd call him, "Hey Dad, this feels funny." He'd say, "Oh, you used to do this when you were younger, give that a shot." And then boom,
right.
I'd be hitting it fine. But, he went overseas, and I found a swing coach after that.
When did you and your brother part ways on your golf skill level? Is that pretty young, or?
My brother, after we had the first stint of junior golf, my brother did not like golf that much. He said it just made him too angry. So he ended up getting into tennis, and we never played tennis a day in our lives. And then like 6 months before freshman year of high school, he started playing tennis, and he was pretty darn good at it. So he just got too mad. He didn't like the way it made him feel. So he actually shot 35 for 9 holes when he was 12. And that was better than I ever did at that age. We'd break 40 a lot, but taking it under par was, when it was kind of like our fourth sport. So he was really good, but, 13, 14, 15, he just stopped playing altogether, but plays now. Only hits at 330.
Only.
How did you learn the game, Matt? Because you're left-handed. So did you go like the Phil Mickelson route, where you may have mirrored your father and kind of did that route, or?
I'd assume.
Or are you naturally left-handed at everything?
I right left, but I throw right.
Okay.
Like if I picked one hand, I'd be much more coordinated in my right hand.
Okay.
But I guess maybe a mirror. My dad said he used to stand in front of like our crib and swing, so maybe that's why. But we ended up, our great uncle was left-handed, so we cut down like his actual wooden woods. I don't know if they were quite like persimmon woods, but and then 2 bullseye putters, old ones of his, and we started playing. So
is your brother left-handed?
Yeah, he plays lefty, but he writes right. So we're a bit all over the place, but
nice.
Yeah,
I saw that you're left-handed. I'm left-handed in everything I do. I'm a caveman with the right hand.
Oh, nice.
I was like, oh yes, finally a lefty on the pod.
I'm the third wheel here, so if you guys just want to have your own little chit chat, I'll just I'll walk off into the distance, and you guys can have your left-handed conversation. This is great. You're our first lefty, Matt. So this is you're our standard. So
I mean, Mike and I have already kind of, it proves how much more athletic we are by overcoming the right-handedness of the world.
That's my mom. When I was a kid, my mom told me that everyone's born right-handed, and only left-handed people overcome the deformity. Only gifted people overcome the deformity.
So they're either lying to us or it's
right.
The truth. Yeah.
I'm so right-handed dominant. I mean, I do everything right. And whenever I can try things left-handed, but man, it's so terrible.
Yeah. I hit it okay right-handed, actually.
Can you have you done like a challenge, or you know what I mean? Like when you see just like a right-handed challenge and say, hey, let's closest to the pin or whatever.
Yeah. Like we'll mess around. I hit shots on the range sometimes. I mean, it's so easy to just grab a club and hit it. When I was in college, Mike Watney, Nick Watney's uncle, was the head coach, and
Mm-hmm.
he saw me hitting the ball right-handed one day. And when we did like a clinic for boosters and people in Fresno, that's where I went to school, Fresno State. And he introduced me as a freshman hitting the ball right-handed. And then I picked up a left-handed club and swung it the other way. But I was lucky. I striped all 3 balls right-handed.
Did that feel more natural, lefty?
Yeah, like I said, I don't remember. I have no recollection. We swung a baseball left-handed, played golf left-handed. I have no recollection of learning how to play golf.
Man,
Bunker shots, putting, chipping, everything.
That's such an important thing to have, because golf is, you want to have a short-term memory in golf to forget all the bad stuff. And since you don't remember any of those moments when you first started, that's fantastic. Like, you don't have those, when I was 4 years old, I hit this huge shank type of memory. So that's really great.
I mean, I have memories from high school golf.
Yeah.
A lot of memories from junior golf, playing with my dad and his buddies. And I grew up with, like, Max Homa was a bit younger than us, but
Sure.
Joe Greiner, Max Homa's caddy. Him and I played baseball, flag football, golf, and Joe's a hell of a golfer, but I have tons of memories playing golf with Joe and my brother. So yeah, I have memories. I don't remember the basics, which we're learning golf all the time, which sucks. We learn every day. So
did you play for your high school? Like, you played on the team? Yeah.
Yeah. I played 4 years on the golf team, and then I played 3 years of football my freshman, sophomore, senior year, which was that was the shit in our hometown, playing high school football. We won at one point. I think Hart High School, the school I went to, won like 9 or 10 CIF, which is Southern Section, like, state championships. I call it state, but it's not. It's Southern Section. Like 10 out of 14 years or something crazy. So everybody loved football. Going to high school games looked like something out of, like, Friday Night Lights or something.
Right.
So it was cool. Yeah.
It seems to me back then, maybe like you might be considered a dork or a geek if you play golf, but you're cool if you play football.
Yeah, maybe.
I
think golf was just changing from that. Jason Gore grew up in Valencia also, and he had played well for so long. Like I mentioned Joe Greiner. There was a guy named Brandon Christensen who was, like, it was him or Anthony Kim, number 1 junior in Southern California for years. He went to the Crosstown Rival, and we were all friends. So it was, I don't know. I think golf was just getting cool. You never saw people that looked like athletes playing golf, or not as much. And then now you kind of go, man, everyone looks athletic. So I don't know what year that changed, but at some point, even going to college, there were very few guys that looked like athletes playing golf. And now every kid in college looks like an athlete. So,
well, I mean, that would have been around the same time that nutrition and fitness really took hold on golf. I mean, outside of Tiger in the 2000s, it wasn't a lot of fit guys, and
Yeah.
So it was probably around that same time.
Yeah, that was Tiger. That was when was it the 2000 LA Open? That was hosted at Valencia Country Club, or 2001, which
before it went to the Riv.
So it was at Riv, and then they were doing, like, they were redoing something at Riviera, and they chose Valencia Country Club, which is where we all grew up in Valencia, and that was the first time I saw Tiger. That was awesome.
Well, tell us about that story. What?
Yeah, there not much to it. I caddied in the practice round. They asked like high school kids if they were interested in caddying. So,
and this was what year? This was 90
junior high.
92.
I think it was 2000 or 2001. It's mentioned in all of Bob Rotella's books. Billy Mayfair beat Tiger in a playoff. So I can't remember what year, but they asked, kids, do you want to caddy for, like, I don't know if it was a Monday Pro. All I remember is caddying for a player that I didn't even know. And at the end of the round, he gave me his 3-wood. And I think my dad would know the guy's name. I don't remember it. And
you still have that 3-wood?
No, it was a right-handed ping 3-wood. Yeah, but that's when golf was kind of becoming cool. I mean, everyone came to Valencia to watch the LA Open, and the course is perfect. It was hard to get on Valencia Country Club, so that might even be the first time I ever stepped foot on Valencia Country Club. It was an amazing place. They had an amazing shape, and the buzz around, like, it's a small town for California, or used to be. It was pretty awesome. So that made a lot of things made golf cool around that time. So.
When did you start taking golf seriously? Like, as I think I'm going to make this a career kind of thing.
Probably later than most guys I know. I think younger guys now even enter college, choosing which college they want to go to, having the idea of
Right.
turning professional. And, I'm good friends with Will Gordon. He's played unbelievably well all through college and then immediately on tour. And, I remember seeing Will when he was like 13. It's like, yep, I'm just going to play golf. And then he's 16 and it's like, geez, he's 6 foot whatever and hitting the ball 290 already or 300. So, he went to Vanderbilt, and I don't know if this was the case, but I'd assume Vanderbilt sent it like, hey, look how many guys we got on tour. In Georgia, you can look at it's the same way. So I don't know. Junior year of high school, I remember the summer going into junior year, I was kind of like, all right, well, if I want to play golf in school, I better have a good year. But that was to get to college. And then I ended up going to a junior college for a year in my hometown. And then I had a scholarship to a few different schools. And I got to Fresno, and I had a really good I went to JC for a year and a half, redshirted that half year at Fresno. And then the next year at Fresno, I had a good year. It was like on the all region team. And I thought, all right, well, if I can be an All-American, then I'll turn pro. And then junior year didn't play that well. Senior year, I got hurt, and a family friend in Charlotte, North Carolina, mentioned the e-golf tour when I was looking for jobs after about 7 or 8 months after school. And he said, hey, why don't you come out here and live with us and try it? And I'd say that's when I was really, it seems late, but I've always been able to hit the ball solid enough to compete. I think my golf IQ was extremely low coming out of college. And the e-golf tour was great for that because you were playing with guys on the PGA Tour who were on the PGA Tour the previous year, web.com or Nationwide at the time. So, yeah, it was kind of like get better or go home. So
Right.
In the golf IQ, you kind of mean like course management and kind of maybe how to prepare or get through a round?
Yeah, I think when I say golf IQ, I mean anything from course management, like emotional control. You can talk to guys who have known me my whole life. I've always had trouble kind of controlling my emotions on the golf course. It was explained best to me one time. A buddy said, "You're bringing your football attitude onto the golf course," and he was right. Like, every shot was like live or die, and I didn't know how to play the game. I think through college, I was really lucky that I could hit the ball so well that I just kind of like disguised myself as like a better golfer than what I was. So yeah, emotions, travel, how you operate in terms of course management. I personally think course management is easy. This is what the designer, where he wants you to try to hit it. And can you hit it there? And if you can't, hit it somewhere else. But guys are so groomed. I mean, my first year, I played with Brian Harmon in one of my first few events, and I think we're the same age. And Brian was all world junior, all world amateur, all world in college. And then I was like, oh man, I've never played with Brian. I mean, certain guys they're so good at a young age. They go to the Walker Cup and play all these high-end junior tournaments, and they get so good mentally and showing up to a course and knowing, like, everybody knows Brian Harmon at that time, right?
Yeah.
And that's you kind of have to find your way, get used to, okay, I need to play my game, and am I good enough? So I think that's what I mean by golf IQ.
Yeah. And I think the mental aspect is, I mean, it's obvious. I'm not throwing out a hot take here or anything when I say, golf is what really separates a really good golfer and an elite golfer is the mental aspect of it and controlling your emotions like that. And I wonder if it's just, can you learn golf IQ, or can you learn to be really mentally stable during a pressure shot, or are you just that way?
No, I think you can. And I think that at times I can use that, like, quote unquote football. I know I only played through high school, but I just did it my whole life at a young age. And that's the best way to explain my attitude. I can use that at times, but if that is on the golf course all the time, I mean, it is exhausting. I mean, golf, people talk about Tiger showing emotion. I think that's one of the most impressive things about Tiger is how he was able to show emotion and then turn around and settle back in. I mean, most golfers are just like this all day, right?
Right.
And when they give that fist pump, it's on the last hole, or they get super jacked, it's on the last hole to win something or maybe tie. And I work with a neuroscientist the last few years, just about like how the brain works. And we go into how my brain operates personally, but how the actual attributes of the brain contribute to certain things. And I know that I have to do things off the course to be better on it. And when I do those things, my emotions are better on the course. I have a game plan of how I want to respond going into a shot, leaving a shot. Some guys, I think it's easy for them, and for some people it's not. I mean, I've always been a good driver of the ball, but I've always struggled with my emotions. And I think that's just every guy has to work on something a little different. So I've really enjoyed working on that the last few years.
So nowadays, when you have a great round or a good tournament, is it because you kept those emotions in check, or was it because you were just hitting the ball better? Like, what fluctuates more in your game, the mental side or the physical side?
Definitely emotions is when I handle things well. I mean, I think even for me, I can go play a mini tour event and I'm kind of on cruise control, or PGA Tour Latinoamerica is a really good golf tour, but I've seen some success down there. I haven't won, but when I go back now throughout the years with Korn Ferry status or something, you just kind of have a sense of calm, where the fact that I haven't done it yet on the Korn Ferry Tour, I think I tend to get a little emotional because I know I hit it well enough. I know I putt it well enough, chip it well enough. I just haven't done it. So if I do all those things well enough, and in practice I'm doing it to a higher standard, if I'm not doing it in the tournament, for me, I really just go, okay, it's something emotional. What am I doing wrong here emotionally, either on or off the golf course?
It sounds like stepping stones of confidence, right? Because I mean, 2019 on Latino tour, I mean, you had a great year. 14 events, 4 top 10s, 8 top 25s. You only missed 3 cuts that year, so it's gaining that. You did that, so there's that confidence, and then you get status on Korn Ferry Tour. So now it's time to build that confidence on Korn Ferry Tour. Am I reading into that, or is that?
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, I had full status on the Korn Ferry Tour in 2018. My best event up to this point is a 13th finish in Exuma, which was the first event I ever played. And Exuma is kind of a funny place because the weather can be so bad that there are times where you don't see anybody. I mean, you're like, if you're delayed, you're still at your room, and then you come out and you see like 9 people because people could be on the course. You're teeing off next, and I think that was a very easy place for me to just put the blinders on. And I do think there's some residual from whatever junior golf, amateur golf, mini tour golf with like some of the guys that I know and I've seen play so well for so long. And I think at times you can go, man, what does this guy do so much better than me? And then you get caught like, what am I doing out here? Like, pay attention to me. And, I'm 34, and you kind of go like, why would he still be dealing with that? But every now and then, I would say that's very rare, but every now and then it happens. I mean, you play with a lot of good players, and you play with a lot of guys that just look so comfortable. And I think there's a big difference between being comfortable and then acting like you're comfortable or trying to be comfortable. And I think this year I'm really excited. I am working on things off the course to just kind of be me on the golf course. So, Latin America, first event I ever played down there, I lost in a playoff. So I was just immediately
great segue. That's a great segue. I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to learn about that because that was your very, very first event on there, right? And you get into a playoff. Yeah. I mean, talk about that. So we just talked about confidence. What did that mean to you as a player? And was it like the I belong aha moment?
Yeah, and I honestly think it was before then. So I was at final stage in 2013. I had that was when it was 6 rounds still. I had a bad 5th round that just took me
for
out
the
of
PGA Tour Q School.
This was the first year it was only web.com.
Oh, God. Okay.
So, yep. Yeah, that was the first year. Final stage was 6. It was still 6 rounds, but it was only for a Korn Ferry tour card.
Gotcha.
So I went there. I was in 12th going in the 5th day, bad 5th round. I think I shot 70 or something in the 6th round, and my conditional status was very bad. But I was told, the first events of the year, which started in Brazil, go very deep. I was playing an e-golf event with Seamus Power, and he's like, hey, I'm going to go play the Latin event, or try to Monday for the Latin event it was in Guadalajara, Mexico. And so I was kind of like, well, screw it, I'll go. And again, you go there, the Latin tour was just kind of getting traction then. And you go there with Korn Ferry status, and you have a different, like you put it well, like a stepping stone of confidence. It's just a little bit higher than everyone else there. You make mistakes and you don't mind. And it turned out that Seamus missed the Monday, so he ended up caddying for me. Well, him and I were roommates. Even at the time, he's good enough to get on tour. I got him on my golf bag. The people of Mexico, I absolutely love. I think growing up in Southern California, I understand Spanish better. The food was good. Everything that week, I can tell you where I went to dinner and how I went about the golf course. They had infinity SUVs taking us to and from the course. I mean, it was like my first taste, because all up till then I played the e-golf tour, which is a good mini tour of a PGA Tour sanctioned event. And it was everything was a little bit more special. So I was really good at not minding mistakes. I had Seamus on the bag, who was even better at telling me not to worry about mistakes. And I think I birdied 17 and 18, and I ended up being in an 8-man playoff. Marcelo Rosso won that, actually. He plays on the Korn Ferry Tour now. So, that was my first event. Then a couple weeks later, I think I finished 15th. So I was kind of quick to get comfortable down there. I didn't play great in 17 down there, but I lost in a playoff there for the Argentine Open. So yeah, I've had some nice times down there. And last year I was extremely comfortable going back down. So
it sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it was.
What's travel life like down there? I mean, are the tours, give us some travel stories. And
yeah, travel's funny. Every season I've played down there, there's always going to be a story about someone losing their luggage, not getting their bags until Wednesday. It just happens. That happened to me this year in Dominican Republic, actually, but that was the first time to me since 2014. And it's interesting. The old guys are a bit crusty about it. The middle age range are kind of whatever. We've been here before. We know how it works. And the young guys are kind of going to shock. It's wait a minute. I can't order this food this way and it comes out that way. So more so than just travel stories, I think just travel down there is whatever you make it. If you're going down there and you're having fun and everyone kind of clicks into their group of buddies. If you reach out to the Latin guys, they're amazing. They'll help you with language. They'll help you with directions, where to eat. I think a good friend of mine, Michael Buttacavoli, had been down there, and he's fluent in Spanish, lives down in Miami, and he made it so easy for me the first time I went down there. Just, hey, this place you get Airbnb, this place you don't. The host hotel, if it's under this price, like it's a good thing to do. So kind of Latin America is so much different than the Korn Ferry Tour. If you're not reaching out to guys and making yourself comfortable with other players that you're playing against every week, it's going to be a long year. I mean, you can gather so much information. The camaraderie down there is really like nothing you've seen for golf at a tournament. You're on a bus with the same guys. You're on the plane with the same guys. You're walking to the course sometimes. You're going to dinner. And, I enjoy that. I grew up playing team sports, had a twin brother. I think that's one of the things that I struggle with playing the Korn Ferry Tour, because even in e-golf days, I traveled with Seamus Power everywhere. So I'm trying to think of some funny stories. I mean, Latin America I think it gets a bad rap sometimes. I don't think it's nearly as hard to travel there as people may make it out to be. But you do see some funny stuff. I mean, you'll go to a range, and I think I went a year in 2017. And then other than one tournament in 19, I didn't hit a driver on the driving ranges. I mean, the balls, they're not in great shape.
Oh, okay.
You're down there. Yeah, they're not in great shape. So it's either the range is cut short where they won't let you hit driver, or the range balls are just risky. I mean, the last thing you want to do is crack a driver or 3-wood when you're on the road for 4 weeks. So,
I guess you don't have tour vans there to get you new clubs on the.
There's no tour trucks on the PGA Tour Latino.
Yeah, you'll see guys at the airport every now and then, like, hey, dude, can you put this in my golf bag so I can make weight? Right? They're bringing extra clubs, and but you got guys. They have a wooden stick with like a round thing at the end, and they're picking up golf balls and put them in a bucket in the middle of the range, and it catches some guys off guard. Some guys just laugh. The Latin guys, obviously, I mean, they handle everything pretty darn well. But caddy stories are funny. I had a caddy that never called me by my name. He just called me Meester. So you go to some of the Korn Ferry or Latin events, and you'll hear guys calling me Meester, and it's from that caddy. So just you get funny stuff like that, where years later you're like, oh man, you remember this? And you're like, oh my word.
Is there a lot of caddies on the Latin Tour, or is there a lot of guys carrying their own bags?
So up until last year, it was mandatory to take a caddy. They changed that last year. So I would say not quite 50-50. There's more guys taking caddies than not taking caddies. And yeah, I mean, I had some caddies in 2014 that caddied for me in 17, 19. One guy caddied for me in the Korn Ferry events in 18. So there are a lot of caddies, and there are a lot of good caddies too. You're not necessarily, I personally was never looking for a guy who knew so much about golf. I just wanted a guy who seemed like a nice person, smiled. And I got really lucky. I had a lot of good caddies down there, and a lot of guys that still message me on WhatsApp or Instagram or something like that. I'm actually one of the guys. He never caddied for me. He caddied for Tyson Alexander for a while. He's going to caddy for me in Louisiana in a few weeks for the Korn Ferry event.
So if you come to the Boise Albertsons, let me know.
I hope to be there again. I was there last year.
Were you? Yeah. That's where I live. So if you need a bag guy,
there you go. Yeah. So there's a lot of good guys.
Is there? I mean, how does it? You just kind of network, or is there like an Airbnb for caddies when you're on some of those mini tours? Because I can't imagine that there's a lot of guys that have the same guy all the time traveling around Latin America with them.
Yeah, some of the Argentinians, I think Mito Pereira had either the same guy or maybe two guys in 1 year. There's more than you think that get around to every event. But those are the guys that are also going to come with some of the Latin players to get on the Korn Ferry Tour. There are a few really, really good caddies down there, and they're doing the same thing as some of the guys that are caddying, you know, in the States. They just want to keep moving up to the next level. So,
right.
Yeah, my goal was to find someone that spoke less English. I found that if I wasn't trying to speak English all day, there was less to say, and chances are they were probably still pretty good with golf knowledge. So, yeah, everybody kind of has their own method, but there are some really, really good caddies down there for sure.
How important is that relationship to you as the player? You know, obviously you say you want to have a guy that's nice, and maybe not necessarily a player in his own right. Does it maybe hurt you or hurt players more that the caddy may know a lot about golf and is a good player in their own right, where they may talk you into a 7 when you really want to hit the 8, but they're so assertive that they're like, no, you need to hit the 7 here. And then the 7 ends up being the wrong club. And then there's that, it could be divisive, you know, or not divisive, but
Yeah.
it could create some rift between it. Like Bubba with his caddy, sometimes he'll rip into him when he's like, oh, I should have hit the 9. So that, I guess what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think ultimately, personally, the player gets more reward than the caddy. The player gets more recognition than the caddy. It's the player's decision to make the final decision. I've never been one to, I'm trying to think of a case where Latin or American. I mean, I've had a lot of American caddies too, where I'm trying to think. My opinion is, if I ask you, that means you have open reign to be as honest as possible, say whatever you want. And then even if I disagree with what you say, I still would rather you be honest before I hit the shot than after say, oh, I thought it was the 7.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, dude, I asked you, right? So I don't know. Everybody does things a little differently. I know some guys that it's almost like they're intentionally mean to caddies or blame the caddy to almost just feel like, well, I couldn't have done that. I'm too good to do that.
So they don't take the onus on it when they're the ones that hit the shot. I mean,
yeah, for sure. And that's okay. I think a lot of times when that comes out on like TV with certain players, they get a bad rap, but you see that all the time. Yeah, I don't know. In Latin America, I use this technique where I would hold clubs like this.
Yeah.
And the caddy would just tap one. And for me, it wasn't so much that I thought one was right or wrong. It was, I know exactly what shot I want to hit with this 8-iron or sand wedge or lob wedge. And I know exactly what club or what shot I want to hit with the other club. And I just needed to choose. I just need to fully commit to which shot. So it wasn't so much like I already picked one and I want to see what he chooses. It was more of, I already have the shots in my head. I just need to go with one of them.
That's like the Russian roulette for golf. Pick the bullet.
I mean, we're like so many guys. This no way meant to come off arrogant. We're so good to a level of professional versus amateur. I could hit so many different shots with a sand wedge or an 8-iron, and everyone at my level can. So I think sometimes we just bombard ourselves with, well, I can do this one, I can do this one, I can do that one. And if you just pick one, you're good. You're good to go. And I've taken that with my buddy Colin Wheeler, a guy named Owen Cass. They've caddied for me over the years, and I just say, I don't need to talk about what I want to do. Just pick one. And it's worked out great for me. But again, it's more of, I just need to commit. So
what's your stock shot? Something on the line, you're going into a green, pins in the middle. What do you rely on?
What kind of tour are we playing here, Mike? Pins in the middle?
Yeah, Mike, this ain't no Softy Executive 3.
You guys didn't get the pin placements for the Muni tour?
We want tough pins over. Yeah, give him so he's a lefty, so you have to present this. Now you can present this.
Now I got in trouble. I presented this entire golf shot scenario a couple pods ago, and then I realized I asked it backwards as a left-hander to a
So go ahead, Mike. This is your chance to redeem yourself.
No, I mean, so like,
the floor is yours.
Tuck pin, I mean, but you got to just hit a good shot. You cut, you hit a low punch, you hit a high draw. What's your stock go to?
I actually heard the pod. I think it was a Picanzo, maybe. or it was Kevin.
I
Lucas.
think it was
can't remember
Kevin.
Lucas.
Yeah.
It was Lucas. What he
yeah.
did
I was
it.
like, oh crap! I asked that completely backwards.
Yeah, I'd say if it's different going into a green than off the tee. Going into the green for me would be very pin dependent. I mean, if the pin is back right, I'm not so much along the lines of I have to hit it in the middle of the green and work it to the pin. If I feel a shot, I'm hitting it. So I think the hardest shot in golf is when something's on the line when you're around the cut. When something's on the line when you're in contention, I think it's a lot easier. Contention, you're feeling good. You're obviously playing solid. Around the cut, if I really, really needed a shot and like everything was on it, at the moment I have this little like knockdown tiny draw that I've been hitting that I would hit, but it does change. I mean, I hit a great shot. I played the Big Money Classic in was at the beginning of January. Yeah. And I missed the cut by one. I needed a birdie on the last, and I hit like a punch cut 3-wood off the tee, which has like this flat ball flight, and then into the green I hit like a perfect draw with a gap wedge. So for me, I've always been able to work it both ways pretty easily. It would just depend on a few things. I wouldn't say I have one locked in go-to going into a green if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, that's similar to me because the longer the club is, the more comfortable I am with the cut, and the shorter the club gets, the more comfortable I am hitting a draw.
That's such an interesting. That's such an interesting perspective, though, Matty, because you just said that you feel more pressure trying to make the cut versus in contention. And I mean, personally, me as a player and as a fan, I would think it would be more. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean the cut. If you're around the cut and you're a solid,
because you're not making money. Yeah, you got to make the cut to make money. I understand that, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'd say most majority of golfers aren't even thinking about the money while on the course. We just want to play well, and I think I've actually talked to Kevin Lucas about this over the years. Like he'll say the same thing, like whatever about the money. I just want to win the golf tournament at the end of the day. And I think my thought with that is like when you're around the cut or you're around the number in Q school, you're not playing very solid, you're not scoring very solid. So yeah, when you're in contention and you're up there or even leading, like you're playing well. So I mean, you're cruising, man. Like it's fun. You're probably laughing with your caddy. You probably got good playing partners. Even if you don't, you're in your own world. I mean, when you're around the cut line, things probably just aren't working. If that's off the tee or if that's the iron game, the wedge is not close enough, just burning edges. So you have more, I get pressure. And if the definition I use for pressure is from the Dr. Justice that I work with, is you have too many thoughts and most of them are negative. So
yeah,
that's when you're around the cut. That's when they pop up or at Q school. So
what kind of on-course guy are you during a tournament? Are you a big talker? Do you stay in your own zone, or does that depend on where you're at on the leaderboard or what day it is?
Yeah, and you'll see everyone do that, right? Like Sunday coming down, if you're not in contention, everybody's just cruising, and like a lot of guys are chit-chatting a little more. I've really worked hard on the last couple of years not talking as much. I'm a very social guy off the course, and I love networking with people and getting to know people. And, you know, at times you're on the course, and if you're doing that all the way to your ball, it's like, oh shit, I got to hit a golf shot now. And so for years, I've worked on that, longer than a couple of years, but the last couple of years, I've done a really good job of like controlling my environment in terms of like, I even have a system where I talk from tee to fairway. But if I'm going fairway to green or tee box to green on a par 3, I have some mental stuff that I work on, or emotional stuff for me that I won't talk much. I'll be cordial with someone, but if someone goes into a full conversation, I might pretend to go walk back to my caddy and get something, or walk to the trash can. I just know there are certain things I have to do emotionally to give myself a better chance on the green. So yeah, I think everybody's a bit different. You also have guys that you just really, really connect with well. I mentioned controlling my environment. If I'm playing with guys who I know are very professional and very, they're not going to say anything that would make my brain go somewhere else or frustrate me, then I'll be open to talking to them. But
Like who's the jokester on tour?
Whew. I mean, Andres Gonzalez is absolutely hilarious.
Half man, half beast.
He's one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Like, is he that way on course? Like, is his persona as he off course, on course? Yeah.
He's almost more so on the course. I mean, if he's at practice, he's practicing, but if he's on the course, he's very funny. Like me, him, Andrew Novak were playing in Wichita, and I think it was Andrew. He hits a shot, or he makes a putt on the first, strikes one down the middle. If it wasn't Andrew, I don't know who it was, but I'm pretty sure. And Andre goes, "Wow, in the zone already. Let's go." Right. And if you didn't know Andre, you'd think like, what's this guy trying to do to the other player? And Andre is literally just pumped. He'd rather have you hit good golf in his group than good golf somewhere else. I mean, he made a joke. I've been over to like put a ball that was right on line instead of moving it. And I'm like straddling the line, bend over. And Andre goes, "Whew, best view I've seen all day. Now I can't help but make this one." Right. And he knocks it in and gives us big fist pump. And we're not in contention. We're out of it. And the people following him were laughing. Us in the group were laughing. So, he's hilarious.
Is that when golf is the most fun? Like when you might not be in contention versus when you are, because you're grinding so hard and you want to win tournaments. To me, I think sometimes golfers don't truly have fun in that moment because it's their job and they need to perform at a high level and focus at a high level. And maybe I honestly think some golfers just forget to have fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't, the most fun you can have on a golf course is winning a golf tournament, being in contention. I wouldn't even, I'd say the most fun that you're talking about, like more kind of like chewing the fat with some buddies. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think when you're coming down the last 6 holes, 7, 8 holes, if you're not playing great and it's the last day and you didn't start the day, you started the day towards the back, you'll see a lot of guys like do some funny things, and hang out more. But after the round, you're just like, oh God, that was a shitty week. Right. So yeah, the most fun you can possibly have is winning. Every guy coming up to you saying nice playing and getting phone calls and texts. And I don't, Harold Varner, I've spent a lot of time with over the years, plays in Charlotte. We played e-golf. He has more fun on the golf course than I've ever seen in terms of what you're talking about. I mean,
I agree.
He just loves golf. Loves golf.
Yeah. You can really tell that.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. And I love competition. Yeah. I've told people, I don't know how much I love golf in terms of how other people love it. Like, oh, I don't have a day to work. I'm going to go to the golf course. I mean, I'd rather, golf and work are simultaneous for me, but like I have a really hard time playing with my friends back home and just having fun. I told people if I ever stop playing professionally, I think I'd try to play right-handed because lefty, I'm only going to get worse. I'm never going to get any better if I stop playing professionally. So fun's a hard one. I think everyone would have a little bit of a different opinion. I love the things that golf has brought me: travel, competition, networking, experience. I mean, stories. But I love competition. I love being able to hit a shot when you're under the gun, making a putt, and whether that's a team game with buddies or individually playing at a golf tournament. So yeah, I think fun would be based on each individual.
Yeah. Everybody's got their own definition for it.
Yeah.
What's different than you expected
in pro golf?
Uh-huh.
I gotta think about that one for a second because I did turn pro in 2010. Here was a good one. A buddy said it last week. You play better courses playing amateur golf than you do playing professional golf. And he was talking about mini tours. I mean, some of the courses we play in Latin America are incredible. and they could stack up against any course we play on the Korn Ferry
Like
Tour.
course conditions wise?
Condition, layout, history. I mean, the Jockey Club in Argentina is by far one of the coolest places I've ever been. You walk on property and you can like feel all these legends of golf that have been there.
Awesome.
So yeah, and it's an Alistair McKenzie design. Calcavecchia's won it. I think one of the Stadlers won it. Furyk won it. Sevi, Sergio's was low am one year. I mean, you can see all this stuff at the Jockey Club on a board. But yeah, I'd say, I mean, if you're playing amateur golf, there's so much pride taken in some of those events to get the course in great shape. It's the best shape you'll see in it all year. And sometimes in mini tour golf, well, a lot of the time in real mini tour golf, like I won't say the tours, but below Latin America, Canada, Korn Ferry, and even you get some on those tours. Like it's almost like you're just guys showing up to play, and that was kind of weird because you expect. And the e-golf tour did a great job when I first turned pro, getting on courses that were really, really good. But then you go and play some other tours, and you're like, man, what are we doing here?
So it's like the Muni tour.
At times, yeah, you're. I mean, sometimes you can't get a tee time for a practice round at some places, and you're like, they don't even really want you here. Like, so that was a bit surprising because you just think like pro golf, like people are going to love it. So
sure,
that would be a good one.
Do you got a favorite city to play in? City, country?
Yeah, I mean, there are some countries in Latin America I just fell in love with. I love Mexico. I always get a good feeling when I go to Mexico. I don't know if it's because the first tournament, like in Guadalajara, or I mean, several others where I've played well. It seems like every time I land in Mexico, I just get good vibes. I mean, the tournament directors and some of the people that work for the events for the Korn Ferry Tour in Leon are also working the Mexican events for Latin America. I mean, I don't know how many of my good finishes have been in Mexico, but a lot. I played well in Leon and the Korn Ferry Tour twice now. And then again, I love Bogota, Colombia, and I've never played well there. I think I've played one good round of golf there, and I've been there 6 times, but it is one of the coolest cities. I mean, you can walk everywhere. People are riding bikes. But yeah, Quito, Ecuador, Santiago, Chile. One year in Santiago, I picked a different direction to walk every morning and just walk for like an hour and would turn around and come back to the Airbnb. So yeah, I mean, there's Buenos Aires. I mean, there's a lot of cool places. We played in Patagonia, or in the mountains of Patagonia one year. It's amazing. They're all different. I like being in cities. I want to see like the buzz of a city and good places to eat, walkable. So yeah.
So is it safe to say that your camera roll has some really great pictures?
Yeah, I do. I do have some good pictures. I wish I took more over the years. To be fair, I probably have some on my computer that I don't have on my phone, but yeah, I have some good pictures, and I've been to some cool places. I made a point a few years ago to try to do something moderately touristy every week that I spent in Latin America. Some places you go, you can't, but Bogota one year, I went to this salt mine that was turned into an underground cathedral, and there's this like natural blue light that shines in, and you're like, you're in the middle of nowhere. You're like, I'll never come back here. And so I've tried to do things like that where I'm taking advantage of the places that I'm in. And I think that definitely paid off in 2019. So
awesome. Any places you went where they were like, don't leave your hotel?
Nope.
Just wait for the shuttle.
Not one. Well, years ago we were in Honduras, but we're at a resort. The resort, you're not going anywhere anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
I actually, you mentioned that I missed 3 cuts last year. I think all 3 of them were at all-inclusive resorts. So I better reevaluate that one.
We'll let the listeners read between the lines there.
Yeah. So one year in Bogota, in 18 for the Korn Ferry Tour, we had an email and there was some sort of like car bomb that went off. And I honestly don't even know where it was in relation to the golf course, but this is like weeks before. And we got this email saying, with all those rules, be careful, don't get in an Uber because it's not allowed by the government. And I'm reading them and I'm going, what? I've done all these things. Like, and then we got there and I think it was Michael Weaver, who was a USAM runner-up one year, played Augusta. I've known him since he was in high school in Fresno. We're walking to dinner, and Sam Burns and his family are at the restaurant. And we go outside, and we're like, what are you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're waiting for a taxi. I was like, oh, you can just walk with us. And they had followed the rules on the email, but I could see if you've never been down there, how it could feel that way. But Michael Weaver and I had spent, I think, a year and a half each down there. And that's the only time I can remember where we got a warning to be careful.
Wow. That's awesome. So what's this?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd play well that week after getting that email if I'd never been there before.
Yeah.
So you're in Florida.
Yeah.
You're in Florida.
Yeah.
You're doing. What's this year look like for you? And you talk about your status and what's going on this year.
Yeah, I have conditional status still, which is kind of a bummer. You're kind of always. I got into enough events last year to where I should have fixed that. I had every opportunity. I'd play 2 or 3 good rounds, and then I wouldn't play 2 or 3 good rounds, and I was dealing with some stuff off the course that was really difficult emotionally for me. And every time I snuck up into contention, I think they just revealed themselves with, like I said, the too many thoughts. A lot of them are negative. Feeling a lot of pressure with like some home stuff. And I should have corrected it, but here I am. I have conditional status. I'm really lucky. I got a sponsor exemption into Louisiana, which is the second event. So knowing that I can plan for that is such a huge deal. That's the hardest part with conditional status is you're looking at and refreshing your player links. And it's like, okay, I'm 165 out of 156 going into Friday for the next week's event. And then Saturday you're 160. And then Sunday you're, 155 and you're, or 157. And then you're like, oh God, should I go? Should I stay? So many people have dropped out or decommitted. It's so difficult, but last year I had a lot of good practice with that. I'm more prepared for that. But getting into Louisiana is before the first reshuffle. And if I can play well there, then I can help myself out a little bit. So I'll play the Monday for Sarasota this Monday.
Is that for
in my career? I
Lecom?
haven't played it. Yeah, that's for Lecom. Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't played a ton of Mondays in my career. When I first turned pro, Titleist was very adamant about would rather see you play tournaments. The eGolf Tour, the Hooters Tour, they were so good that you just saw a lot of guys playing tournaments. And if Mondays fit, they played. Most of the time, guys who played Mondays had status, and now it's just changed so much. So I tend to play Mondays when I'm not really I feel like I'm not in season. Like I played the San Diego Monday years ago. I played the LA Monday, and I'm like, I'm going home to visit family, and I like go play the Monday, and it's not the right way to do it. I mean, you should be winning money games at your home course and playing well. I had a Monday for the second San Antonio event last year, and I played great. I shot 7 under, missed by 1, but I was in form, right? Yeah. So I need to be more ready to go for those this year. I'm also playing a G Pro Tour event. If I miss the Monday at Lecom, I'll play a G Pro the following week, and I'm also signed up for APT Tour event in Louisiana the week before the Korn Ferry event. So I definitely like to play events before I'm like playing. I don't mean to say bigger one, but because even the APT is a big one. I mean, 35 grand of the winner, I think what a good way to like get going into the next week. So, my schedule's kind of conditional. So I'll play it by ear and play some Mondays.
How many miles do you have on your car?
Well, one of the reasons I drove back from California is I was buying a new car.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a 2008 Nissan Altima that has 208,000 miles. this SUV I just got has 65, I think, now that I drove across the country. I also had a Honda Accord that had 210 that I got rid of last year. So, yeah.
You can give that to your brother.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It's left-handed. He'll be fine.
Left-handed Honda. Those are hard to come by.
my brother's doing all right. He's a Beverly Hills police officer. He doesn't need any of my mini tour scraps.
That's perfect. So why doesn't he be like your personal bodyguard when you head back home and to play all those events? Like he's your, like, you know, when Tiger Woods had his main security guard always by him and everything.
Yeah. No, my brother's he's got a little girl and wonderful wife. He doesn't want anything to do with that. On
that's
duty,
awesome.
I wouldn't be paying enough for off duty.
Oh man.
All right, so towards the end of the pod, I always like to have some fun question time. 30 years from now, who's your honorary 3 at the Masters?
Oh yeah. I mean, Tiger. How old's Tiger?
43.
43.
5. He was born in
He'll be old enough to be an honorary.
He was born in 75.
It's got to be someone in their 70s. So, I mean, Tiger for sure. That's a lock, I guess, right? You got to say Phil. Phil would be a lock.
90. That's 95% of everybody's first 2, and
It
then
really
it's like
is,
a 5-minute thought
yeah,
process on who the third person
This
is.
has turned into a great poll question for the pod.
This is a great one. My favorite player growing up by far was Ernie Els, and I think he'll be one.
There you go. That's my 3. That's exactly
there you
my
go.
3.
Perfect. International, like.
Yep, your international love, like so. Gary Player,
Yep.
and then the 2 Americans, Jack and Arnie.
Oh wait, has Ernie won?
The Masters.
Ernie won the Masters.
Oh, do you have to win the Masters to be a starter?
Well,
that's a great question. I don't even know.
To be, because who was the? There was a African American guy that was an honorary starter one year. I mean, he didn't win, but he had played.
Yeah, this year.
Was that this year?
Yeah.
That was so
sorry,
cool,
2020.
Right?
Last in November.
Yeah, that was sick. So I think
was awesome.
Rules will start to change. I mean, if you're great for the game, yeah, I'd pick Ernie. But yeah, if you have to have one, Freddie'd be a good one.
I don't see anything on the Google that says you have to. I mean, I assume it's just it was a lock for those, for Arnie and those guys because they did win it. Yeah. But I'm sure that's just a committee decision.
For sure.
And then after Tiger, Phil, and Ernie die, it's Patrick Reed, Sergio Garcia, and
can't get me started on Patrick Reed.
Hey, we need another hour for that. That'll be episode 2 with Matt Ryan.
I'm a pretty honest guy, so I don't. I can save that story for another time.
So what's going on with rules, Matt? Like we talk about rules too, actually, and I think it's actually very important that we kind of brought up the rules because the RNA and the USGA are now starting their conversation of changing equipment, changing whatever it might be to just have the conversation of the ball is going too far. So I guess the question is, do we have a distance problem? And if we do, what exactly is the distance problem? Help me understand.
I haven't read too much into this. I think hit the ball as far as you want or as far as you can. I mean, there are a few guys that'll tell you that are kind of like mid-range hitters. I'm not going to try to get longer because I don't want to mess with my other parts of my game. I mean, until everyone starts hitting it a million yards, I think equipment obviously has a lot to do with it. I think people this is like 50-50 and someone might just come after me for saying this. I think better athletes are playing. I think there's more training at a younger age.
Boom.
That's 100% what I believe.
Better athletes are playing. That's exactly the side that we're on.
But there are some guys that will literally tell you like they're not good athletes, but they're still hitting the ball far. Science has helped dramatically. I mean, when I was growing up, I sit down on the driver. I still do. I can't get away from it, but luckily I don't hit it short, so I can hit down on the driver.
No, you don't. Yeah, I got your 2020 stats right here.
Oh God. What is the distance? I don't need to know the
rest.
You
want to know? This is great. This is awesome. Okay, so here's your 2020 stats. Driving distance, 311. Driving accuracy 65%. Greens and regulation 69. Putting average 1.81. Birdies per round 3.57.
Not good. There you go. Scoring central.
So what do those stats mean to you?
I don't pay attention. Again, like I've mentioned before, a lot for me is emotional. Like I think sometimes stats can be, I think stats are beneficial all the time, but I think sometimes they can be just thrown in the trash. I feel like I'm a better driver than 65%. Right. And I guess the Korn Ferry Tour would be a lot harder because they don't, like, some events, they don't track everything, but like I know I'm a better driver in terms of accuracy. I've always hit the driver pretty well, but some holes, like nowadays, like you were just mentioning the distance talk, just boom it, hit it in the fair, hit it in the rough. Who cares? So I think when we come, putting to me is very emotionally based. I putted great in Latin America last year, and like I said, in 2020, my emotions weren't as good. I didn't putt as well. But I think distance, more importantly than distance, I think the fairways need to get tighter, and I think the rough needs to get longer, and I think the greens need to get firmer. There's not a golf course you can go to, even if you eliminated the other two and you just said firmer greens, that the course can't be more dangerous. I mentioned the Jockey Club in Argentina. It's like maybe 6,500 yards. I'm actually not even sure. Mm-hmm. And these greens are tiny. A lot of them are lifted, and they get the course so firm that if you miss a green, it bounces away from the green, and then you have a chip or a pitch that you have to get up in the air, but the ground's so firm, it's brutal. So I'm a big proponent of, like, obviously rain can affect that and all that stuff, but like so many courses are so good now with maintenance, they can get the greens as firm as they want. And I think that's a little lost in the discussion. Firmer greens, tighter fairways. I'd be more up for that than drawing it back. I don't think there are enough guys that hit it absurdly far yet to draw it back.
I agree.
Well, just so you're aware, that was the correct answer.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, go ahead, Matt. Yeah.
When I was growing up, I remember my dad, we used to go to the LA Open and SBC Senior Classic, and he would go, look at there'd be someone that's like 6'3", and he's like, my dad's very knowledgeable with golf. He was a scratch way back in the day. Now he's like a 12, but my grandfather was really good. So I do come from a golf family to some extent, and we used to watch taller hitters, and my dad would go, it's tough for taller guys to swing the club the way they're supposed to, because they got to get down so far. Right. So I think one of the things that people have lost sight of in all the technology advances is now Dustin Johnson, who's 6'4", can hold a club that is designed for him to get max performance out of it.
Right.
It used to be Dustin Johnson would be swinging a club that's an inch and a half too short. And I think again, it's all of it together, but even something like that, like having to get fit for proper clubs and equipment, even just the length issue to get taller guys into better clubs for them is massive to hit it farther.
They should just design 18 holes of a course, just exactly like number 10 at the Riv. I think that's one of the best designed holes on tour, because it makes pro golfers look foolish.
It's amazing.
They think they can hit their 3-wood into that little slot, and if you miss it just a little bit left or even right, that bunker's going to hit you. And if you're in the bunker, that's almost impossible because how the green is sloped. And then if you're on the left-hand side, near the trees, or even like that rough it's brutal. Just give me 18, something like that. I think course architecture. Make the golfers think, man. Maddie, you need to go get your food, don't you?
I could, yeah.
I don't want to.
If you guys got more questions, you can ask me.
I don't want to keep you too long here.
I'm in the zone now, though.
What's in the oven? What's in the oven? What's for dinner?
Yeah, tonight was I did salmon that I got from Whole Foods, like bourbon glaze, it says, and then I got.
My gosh!
I make these baked potatoes that are. It's called I call them English style for my buddy Greg Eason. We rented a place in November, and he just loads them up, gets them wet, loads them up with like salt, pepper, sticks them in the oven for like an hour. So
Are you the best? Are you the best cook in your family, Matt?
I'd say it's been passed down to me. My mom hates cooking, but she would have been the best. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it would be. Yeah. At the moment. And then I got like zucchini and tomatoes and mushrooms all grilled together.
Like, do you cook for your roommates? Good. Do you cook for Seamus, or is he on his own?
We used to split it up. I'm not living with Seamus anymore. I'm with a buddy, Brian Hughes, and I've been cooking up a storm for Brian. He's I'd say he'd be disappointed when I leave.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. So.
Well, shoot. Yeah. If you make it to Boise this year, which you will, by the way.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah.
Podcast bump.
It's the podcast bump. We had an Auburn player on early December, and his next event out, he won. So he was on the podcast before. So, and everybody that Matty P, he played in the Florida Big Money. We had him on the Monday before he went out.
He played well.
He was T3 after 1. So, Matt Ryan, the professional golfer, is going to have a really, really good year for the Rough Fairways podcast.
There we go.
You heard it.
There we go. It won't be Rough Fairways, will it?
Rough Fairways is executive produced by Eddie Dunn and Mike Sells. Our thanks again to Matty Ice. Exciting news coming up here on Rough Fairways, where we announce our sponsorship next week. And upcoming guests include Ben Schur and Korn Ferry player Jax Beach. Enjoy your weekend, everybody, and please remember, be kind to each other.